What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the PICK6 podcast. It's your boy Musa. I got my guy Ty and Mike here with me. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. How about y'all? I know Ty's doing great.
Yeah,
I know.
feeling
I
great.
see that picture right there. Hey, we might touch base on a little bit, but we definitely gonna save it for Sunday's show. But we here back with another episode. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, last time we was here, we was giving our predictions for the semifinal games for the college football playoffs. We got the results as you see in the headline. Ohio State beats Texas. Notre Dame wins in a thriller against Penn State, and we have our national championship game this upcoming Monday, MLK Day. Notre Dame, Ohio State, winner takes all. Should be a great game. I'm excited to watch that game. We're going to touch base on that a little bit soon in regards to our final predictions for that game. But that's not all we got to talk about. We got Carson Beck. Instead of going to the draft, he's declaring to switch over and transfer to Miami. That's an interesting choice. We're going to definitely start with that soon. And, of course, we got some breaking news. Michael Vick has been inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame. So we're going to start with that first. But first things first, if you're watching the show, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're 7 subscribers away from 200. Please get the likes in for us, man. We appreciate it. And without further ado, man, we're going to get right into it. We're going to start off with Michael Vick, man. He's going into college football royalty. He has been inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. I'll let hear you guys' thoughts on this induction. I think we all can agree it was well-deserved. But if you have any memorable moments of him in college or just in general, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's good for him to get in the College Football Hall of Fame for sure. But I'm curious to see what he does now as a coach. See if he can. I touched on a few episodes ago, like how Dion got started off at the HBCUs and at Jackson State, and he just left to go to Colorado. I want to see if Vic could possibly build this up to an FBS program from FCS. So. Yeah, no, it's good that he got into it though. And my main memory of Michael Vick was when I'd play Madden. If someone had the Falcons and they had Michael Vick and I didn't, I got smoked.
Yes, sir. Ty, the floor is yours, man. What's your thoughts on the induction and favorite memory of Michael Vick?
I'm not gonna say too much really because, like you said, it's well deserved. Honestly, my favorite memory of Michael Vick is honestly any Michael Vick moment because he really paved the way of what we are looking at right now in the league, and in college especially. He branded everything. He set the blueprint for everyone. He statistically might not had greater college careers than other people that we're gonna talk about later today. But he is still that guy, and the importance he has, it's deserving. And I'm with Mike. I want to see him do the Dion, and I want to see him become a coach. Then you never know. We're gonna see Michael Vick coaching in the NFL.
Absolutely, man. Congrats to Vic. We all know the Michael Vick experience growing up, how that was for us. I will also say I was privileged enough to watch him play in the NFL. I didn't get to see him much in college at Virginia Tech, but my favorite memory of him was actually when he came back after the situation he had dealt with post-Falcons when he was on the Eagles. Just seeing how much he matured as a quarterback was really what I loved to see most because we seen what we had with Lamar, of course, with the stigma of, let's just say, black quarterbacks only being able to just run the ball. But seeing him come back after the Falcons situation and be able to prove that he can actually throw the ball just as much as he can run it was one of my favorite memories and things to see from Michael Vick. Shout out to you, Vic, man. We appreciate everything you've done for college football and for the sport of football. We're gonna move right along. Go ahead, Mike.
That was the Monday night game, right? The comeback game there where he came in, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Moving right along, man. We're gonna get right into the Carson Beck news. If you let, who knows, Mike? Is it big news to you? Carson Beck going to Miami.
I think it's very big news. I think it's very big news if you're in the ACC, and I think it's very big news for his draft stock because it. Let's be honest, it tanked this year, and look at how they turned around Cam Ward. He had good numbers at Washington State. It wasn't. He didn't have as poor a year as Beck had this year because I know they interested team success. I'm back. Okay. So they still had pretty good team success, but I'm curious to see. Yeah, I'm good now. Okay. Yeah, no, they had good team success there at Georgia, even though he had some interceptions. So I think Miami will be. They seem to spend a lot of money on NIL and getting guys there. So I think they'll have another good run this year, and I think this will only help his draft stock going into next year's draft, not hurt it.
Ty, what's your thoughts? Carson Beck playing for the Hurricanes next season.
I think it's going to be this kind of very similar to what you saw to Cam Ward. I don't think he's going to be a Heisman candidate. But my thing with Miami, just got to hope that defense doesn't put up 30 points every game next year because that's what really killed them. And if they do, it's going to be looking slow for Carson Beck. In the Hurricanes, but I think it was a smart decision for him. I think he's getting almost $8 million in NIL, so that's a no-brainer. Because if he was to enter the draft, depending how low these owners and the scouting got these quarterbacks, he probably would have been a very late 4-rounder. So it's smart for him. But I don't think Miami will be that great. And I still think it's a 50-50 with him because if he doesn't do good next year, then he might as well find another career.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with most of the things both of you guys said. For Miami, this could be a big hit or miss. I don't think they're gonna be the same offense as they were this year. I think they're going to take a step back, and that's even with some of the transfers they're going to be possibly getting. It makes me nervous because I want to see how Carson's going to look. Well, nervous and eager because I want to see how he's going to look next season after the elbow injury and surgery. How's he going to look? Is he going to still have confidence and good mobility in that arm when it comes to throwing the ball? Him being an ACC does help him a lot because he doesn't have to see some of the tougher defenses that you might see in SEC like he did in Georgia, and because of that, he might be able to kind of take advantage of that. But with the 12-team playoff and how teams being able to actually now build a year removed from the first season of the 12-team playoffs, I think it's going to be more of a balance in the ACC as well as the SEC. So, with that being said, I'm excited to see what he can do. As far as his draft stock, though, Todd, I don't know if it changes too much. Considering that they believe that this next coming draft is going to be stacked pretty much at quarterback. With Archie most likely coming out, Sellers is going to probably come out, Nico is supposed to be coming out, so Drew Aller is supposed to be coming out. So with all these names potentially coming out, I don't know where he falls in between those names. So that's my take on Carson.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of saying it kind of hurts him because if he doesn't perform literally better than this season, he's looking at being undrafted rookie. So
yeah, I agree. Mike, any last points on this? Mike?
I think I don't think the quarterback class is per se so strong next year, but I think the
we're losing Mike. Yeah. 3 strikes and you're out. Mike will be back up shortly, everyone.
I think what Mike was trying to say
Yes.
was that next year's class may not be too strong. So there is a chance that,
He still might be a top quarterback in the
yeah.
upcoming draft. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to watch him tape because we all know when it comes to scouting quarterbacks, Mike is very real, and I guess you could say when it comes to scouting the quarterbacks in college. So that's for Carson Beck. The next thing we're going to talk about is the semifinal games for the Natty game. We had some great games last week with Ohio State and Texas, and then you had Notre Dame versus Penn State. We're going to start off with the Ohio State Texas game. Ohio State won 28-14. The score seems like it was close, but Ohio State kind of got going in that last quarter and got the scoop and score to kind of seal the deal. Quinn Ewers was 23 for 39, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Will Howard was 24 33, 289 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick as well. Mr. Smith himself, Jeremiah, had a quiet game. 1 catch for 3 yards. They was blanketing him pretty much, double, even triple teaming him to the point where he was not going to beat them in this game. But nonetheless, Carnell Tate stepped up. Travion Henderson stepped up. So Ohio State and their defense stepped up in the big moments, and they got the win. Ty, I would love to hear your thoughts on this semifinal game.
Yeah, Texas defense pretty much gave all they got. They could give. Honestly, I was very proud of them, honestly, because the whole playoffs, I've been telling you guys that the Texas defense can carry them to a national championship. And they had a chance.
I give you credit for that. You did say that.
But the problem was, honestly, the biggest problem to me was Texas's head coach. Right there, if you do that in the NFL playoffs, all that play calling, like, people are gonna call for your job. They're at the 1 yard line. They can't get it with the first rush. Second and goal, they lose 7 yards. All right. Then what happened after that?
Mike said it best in the private chat. And he says this all the time, whether it's college or NFL. If you're inside the 5, and particularly, and you're running the ball in shotgun, it never goes well. And that's exactly what they did. Is they ran, and not even if you ran an outside zone or zone weak to the edge of the line is one thing. You try to run it right up the gut in a shotgun like that. If you ain't got Derrick Henry back there, I don't really suggest that. And even then, that's still kind of pushing your luck, if you're asking me. But that's what they did, and that I think that's what kind of blew them the game, because in the very next play, to your point, Ty, Ewers gets the fumble, the scoop. How fitting, his former roommate gets the scoop and score on him to ice the game.
Yeah, because it's like they waited 2 downs to throw it. I understand the first rush because you're at the 1. You got to rush it in, But after that, you should have knew that things need to tighten up. We're down by 7. About to be less than 2 minutes left. Like, even if we score here, most likely can probably go to overtime, but you still have to keep scoring. That was their problem. They couldn't keep scoring.
Yeah, man. I would like to see on that drive, particularly before the fumble, I would have loved to see them draw up a play where they would have did some type of motion on the offense where they would at least try to see whether or not they're in man or zone and try to get a fade route to golden or blue. At least once or twice to either one of them. Or maybe even do the run option to where you can try to have someone slip, kind of like how the Ravens were trying to do against the Steelers back in Pittsburgh, where they had the miscommunication, though, unfortunately. But some type of run option play or a fade to one of your better receivers to give them a chance to win the game for you. Tie the game for you. Like you said, though, it sucks because Texas played really well, and they played well enough to win that game. It just came down to the costly timing turnovers that cost them the game. We got Clips up here, man. What up, Clips?
Yo.
What up, man? We're just talking about the Ohio State Texas game recap. Me and Ty was kind of touching base on
Man, I already knew.
plays.
I already knew Ohio State was going to win that game.
And why did you feel like they was going to win that game?
Because they won their defense. Two, like I said, I've never trusted what's Buddy name, the quarterback.
Quinn Ewers.
Thank you. I never trusted him, and I always knew one thing: Ohio State defense is always going to come to play. Forget offense; the defense always comes to play all the time. So, to me personally, when you force him to make mistakes, I think there was like a possession where they had a scoop and score fumble. They ran a scoop and score fumble back.
Yep, that's what sealed the play on the game.
It's just certain things like that I know I trust Ohio State's defense to pick, like to get that where I like Texas's offense still, like they're great, don't get me wrong, but they still have a little bit to develop, and I just don't think Ewers is that guy.
To be fair, though, to your point, Texas did kind of bail them out running those, like Ty just touched on. Texas got to bail them out running those two back-to-back running plays on first and second down and shotgun.
Yes, thank you. Just about to say it, like out of the shotgun formation.
Right before you joined, I mentioned that I would love to see them run like a motion or run pass option to try to get someone open or do a fade to either Jaden Blue or Marcus. I think his name is Marcus Golden. Matthew Golden. My apologies. Shout out to Matthew, man. He was balling that game, but that's what I like to see them do. But all in all, Ohio State reigns supreme. They're now in the national championship game, and they will be playing the next team we're going to talk about, and that is the semifinal game that we just had prior to the Ohio State game, and that is Penn State versus Notre Dame. Ohio State will be playing Notre Dame in a natty game after beating Penn State 27-24. This was a great game. Riley Leonard missed some time in this game with the concussion, came back and still was managing to do what Riley does, and that's make plays. He finished the game with 15 for 23, 223 yards, 2 picks, a touchdown on the ground and through the air. Drew Aller played pretty well, actually. Pretty fair, I'll say. 12 for 23, 135 yards, and of course the most costly pick of the game. Tyler Warren has declared for the draft, and he played well in this game. The tight end out of Penn State, 6 catches, 75 yards. I'll hear you guys' thoughts on this Notre Dame Penn State game and to see what you believe is going to go forward for Penn State.
I think this game came down to pretty much the quarterbacks. And it was pretty much which quarterback cannot make a mistake during this crucial time. And that ended up being Riley Leonard. He's not, I don't know anyone that's like very high on Riley Leonard, but he could get the job done. And coaches love quarterbacks that can do that. You don't have to be the most flashy, the most spectacular, as long as you can make a play when we need it to. That's gonna help us out, and that happened to Notre Dame. Honestly, yeah, Drew pretty much cost them the game. Penn State, it was a back and forth for a while, but I just think Marcus Leonard outcoached. You feel me? and he got the job done. And I'm pretty high on Notre Dame now. Honestly, I didn't like them coming into the playoffs, but seeing them in the playoffs so far, I think it's been great. Honestly.
Yes, sir. We got Mike back, man. Mike, it looks a little chubby, but you look like it's pretty good now. Should be good to go.
Hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect. They can't keep a player down, Mike. You know that. Right now, Mike, we're talking about the Penn State Notre Dame game. But real quick, 'cause I know you was having some technical difficulties. Well, want to hear your thoughts on the Ohio State Texas game, and then we can go right into the Notre Dame Penn State on your thoughts.
Yeah, I heard you guys say it when I was hopping in and out there. Pretty much that shotgun run there from the one on second down is a joke. Like, I understand doing it maybe on like fourth down to try to have the threat of the pass, maybe even third, but I just don't like in that situation. But Ohio State wasn't that same dominant team that we saw in the first two playoff games. So I'm curious to see what Ohio State we're going to get on Monday night, because if we get the version of Ohio State that we had on Friday, I believe it was, I definitely think Notre Dame's live. I'm picking Ohio State to win. I don't think they would cover a 10-point spread. Let me put it that way, though. Regardless, but yeah, the Notre Dame Penn State game, I still don't see what some of these scouts see in Drew Aller. I know they say he can manipulate the puck, but I would not draft him in the first 3 rounds. But Notre Dame, another solid coaching performance from Marcus Freeman, and great defense. And if Riley Leonard didn't get injured at Duke, I think he would have been a much better quarterback going into the NFL draft too, because you see his ability to run, but just all the injuries he suffered, he's not the player that he was anticipated to be. But I'm excited for Monday night for sure. I think it'll be a good game.
Real quick before we let Clips go, because you mentioned Drew Aller in the draft, he is returning back to Penn State for the next upcoming season, as well as Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, the 2-star running backs. So Penn State does have its, for the most part, still has the nucleus on offense. We know they're not going to have Tyler Warren because he has declared to the draft, and Lord knows, just a Herbert going to need a tight end the way he played in that game. But we're going to talk about that for Sunday. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. Clips, what was your thoughts on the Notre Dame Penn State game?
Very great game, to be honest. I loved it. I watched it from start to finish. I really didn't think Notre Dame was actually gonna win that game at all. I thought Penn State was really gonna blow them out. But shout out to them boys in Notre Dame. They both Penn State and Notre Dame, they both played a good game. To Ty's point, it was definitely about the quarterbacks. Again, first quarterback to make to not make a mistake. But I will say, going forward for Penn State, I feel like even with this loss to Notre Dame, I feel like they're still in a great spot. They can pick up where they left off from this year, with whatever recruits they're going to come in and get. Coaching has always been great with Penn State. I just didn't think Notre Dame was going to win. I definitely was shocked. Again, was it a 3-point loss?
Yep, 27-24.
Yeah, so and to seal it off in the fashion and to seal the win off in the fashion that Notre Dame did, just applaud those boys, to be honest.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the points that I was about to make that you just said, was because Riley, I'll be honest, neither quarterback for Notre Dame and Penn State moved me at all. They, in my opinion, they played either poorly or just terrible. I will say it sucks because this is what I always say, it's not how many turns you have, it's when you have the turnover. And for all purposes, Riley was turning the ball over a lot that game. Well, Drew was pretty clean as far as turnovers go until the very moment where you didn't need a turnover and couldn't afford one. And his turnover weighs more. That one turnover weighs more than the two that Riley had because of the timing and the fashion that it came in. His pick that he threw cost him the game, essentially, because it was already in field goal range at that point. So I'm glad he's coming back. I'm glad the running backs are coming back. We all know the stud, 11 from heaven. We all know one thing. If you wear number 11 on that defense in Penn State, you're a baller. Because not anyone could wear that number. Abdul Carter has declared for the draft. He mentioned that he would love to play in Philadelphia for the Eagles. And we all know one thing about Howie Roseman, I believe is his name. Sometimes I'll be forgetting names. The GM for the Eagles. One thing he will do, he will take the gamble and he will find a way to get who he wants. So if he really wants to get Abdul, he'll find a way to get it if the price is right. It's been rumored also that Abdul might fall at 4 to the Pats, and the Pats might try to do everything they can with now with Vrabel being at the helm to go get AJ Brown. So that's be a nice start to get AJ Brown, get Abdul, and move forward with that. But my thoughts on that game was pretty much everything you guys said, especially the last play. Drew just turned the ball over when it mattered the most, and that can't happen. I picked Notre Dame to win this game. We're gonna get right into our predictions in a moment because my prediction will be Ohio State, but I'm gonna just go with my gut. I think Notre Dame will win the national championship come Monday. I believe in that team. I love what I'm seeing with that defense. And one thing I noticed with them is even when they're struggling, they know how to make adjustments, and that goes strictly to the coaching staff at that university being able to make adjustments at halftime and get that team mentally prepared and keep them mentally prepared for any situation. And it's been shown throughout the college football playoff. So, without further ado, we're going to go right into the national championship preview. We're going to talk about obviously our predictions, and we can even go as far as give a lucky guess on what the final score will be. So here is the picture for the national championship: Notre Dame, Ohio State, Will Howard, Riley Leonard, Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day. Who's taking home the trophy? Ty, I'll start with you. Who you got winning this game? And Mike, if you want, you can take note of this too, because I know we're gonna do it for the pick'em. But who would you got for this game? And if you got a final score, what would it be?
Like Mike said, this week and last week, you don't know what Ohio State team you're gonna get. And I don't think we get the good one Monday, so I'm gonna go with Notre Dame straight up to win the whole thing. I think this is gonna be. It's not gonna be very high scoring. I'll probably say 24-21.
Mm-hmm. All right. Clips. What's your predictions for this game? And if you have a final score prediction, what would it be?
I'm going Ohio State 32-14.
Ohio State 24-14.
No. 32-14.
32.
Oh yeah. I got Ohio State.
Oh, you think it's a blowout?
I think Ohio State's about to go in there and whoop that ass.
You don't got faith in our brother Marcus Freeman and his team?
I love Marcus Freeman. Don't get me wrong, bro. But again, Ohio State is just that program. I really just feel like they are built for this moment. I feel like that defense is going to show up, and I just really feel like Ohio State is putting, excuse my language again, but for the young generation, we putting belt to ass.
Hey man, I ain't mad at your prediction. I just find it hard to believe that Notre Dame's defense is gonna give up 32 points and they're only gonna be able to put up 14. But if anyone can do it that we shown, it would be Ohio State. Mike, what's your prediction on this game and a final score you will pick? Then we got Peso's comment I'm gonna show afterwards.
Yeah, before I say that, so Clips, would you want Ohio State straight up, or do you want a -8.5 then if you're going with that score?
We can come back to Clips.
Yeah, that's okay. And Ty, I assume you want Notre Dame straight up, correct? Based off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad, y'all.
No, you're good.
What did you
Do
ask?
you want, so based off of that, do you want Ohio State minus 8.5, or would you want them straight up?
Let me go straight up.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking right now. One of the books, they're saying for the score, sort of their team total for Notre Dame is on this book is 18.5 over under, and then for Ohio State it is 27.5. So that's a little bit around the spread, which is 8.5 currently. So I think it's either going to be it's not going to hit that number, but it's either going to hit on the one side or the other. It'll probably be a 14-point win for Ohio State or a 7-point win, depending on what play happens. Like if we have an instance where how Ewers fumbled the ball there and it got brought back, even though that would have probably been a game that goes into overtime or 7-point victory, it turns into 14. I think one play will determine whether it's a double-digit victory or single digit. But I'm leaning Ohio State for this one. As I said earlier, I don't think they cover a 10-point spread. The 8.5 what it is now, that's still a little too much, I think. But I definitely think Ohio State will win this one. I got them straight up.
Gotcha. Peso with the comment. Peso said he got Ohio State 31-20. Man, I need to put some respect on Notre Dame, man. I'm not liking these scores, but hey, we gonna see. That's what to be about sports, man. It's gonna be a winner. It's gonna be a loser. For me, I'm gonna take Notre Dame straight up. I'm going with my heart here, not my gut. I would love to see Notre Dame win. So I'm going Notre Dame straight up. If I had to guess a final score, I will probably go 30-27.
I don't think it's going to be as high score a game as some of you guys think it is.
I was going to say
it's more a defensive battle.
I was thinking 27-24, like the last game Penn State, Notre Dame was just in. But me considering how bad both quarterbacks played in the Notre Dame Penn State game, and then if you really look at it, Will Howard didn't play the best either against Texas. I think, and they still both teams put up at least 20 plus points. So with that, I'm comfortable with the 27-30 score.
You look at all the
how they put up 28?
Yeah, they put up 28 with Will Sawyer touchdown. But you look at all these teams, like I know we say bad quarterback play, but look at the defenses these teams are going up for our Final Four. We got Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas. Those are 4 of the best defenses in the nation. So the college game, even up to, I thought, through this year, this hasn't been towards the end of the year, but you could get away with not having such a good defense, and you could just blow teams out on offense. But now with NIL, it looks like the landscape sort of evened out. You can't really do that in the college game anymore. It's coming more like the pros where the defense trumps all.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. The defense has a lot to do with the mediocre quarterback play. So that's more of a credit to the defenses, especially the 4 elite defenses you just mentioned. So I don't disagree with that at all. We're gonna move right along, man. So Fox Sports released a top 10 Heisman all-time list. Of course, the crew here at PICK6, we got the scoop on that. So we're going to talk about the top 10 Heisman list that they have, and we're going to kind of give our thoughts on where they should be. First, I'm going to just show everyone, those watching, make sure you like and subscribe. We're 7 subs away from 200. I'm going to show you guys the list, and then after everyone is shown on the list, we're going to kind of go through and give our takes on whether someone should be here or there. So I'm gonna share my screen with the website. Then I'm gonna have the picture show at the end. So first thing we got here, of course, they're asking who's the top 10 Heisman Caesars all time. For those who haven't seen the list, at number 10, they got Lamar Jackson. 2016, his season. I'm not going to touch on the stats just yet. We're going to get into that a little later. Number 9, they got Tim Tebow, the 2007 season for Florida. Next, Marcus Allen out of USC. At 7, they got Johnny Manziel. At 6, they got Tony Dorsett from Pitt. 5, they got Charles Woodson. Prior to this last season, he was the only Heisman winner to win the award playing DB and receiver until Travis Hunter did it this season. At number 4, we got Cam Newton. Everyone remember his historic run at Auburn that season in 2010. At number 3, they got Travis Hunter. We don't want to touch too much on that. We already know what he did this season with his historical season. Number 2, this one surprised me. Joe Burrow is at number 2. And he had a historic season at LSU. So I'm not mad, but it did surprise me. And number 1, I think this goes without debate. You got Barry Sanders, 1988. And we got some honorable mentions that they mentioned. We got O.J. Simpson's 1968 season, Herschel Walker. We got Mike Rozier, Doug Flutie, Desmond Howard, Danny Wuffel. If I mispronounce your name, my apologies. Ricky Williams. We got Reggie Bush. We got Robert Griffin III. And we got Kyler Murray to round up the honorable mention list. So that is the top 10. I'm going to show the image on the screen so we can keep it up there. But fellas, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that list. Here we go. So you guys can re-see who cracked the top 10. Any thoughts, pushbacks on this list?
Well, one thing that I don't get is how is Travis at 3, first off, and number 2, how can you put Tim Tebow above Lamar Jackson when I had all those guys helping him, and neither one of them should be on this list, in my opinion, to be honest with you, with Tebow and Jackson. Because how is this even a list if Reggie Bush isn't on it?
Well, that's because they just gave him back his award.
Yeah, they put him in the honorable mention. If they didn't put him in the honorable mention, I could say, okay, because it was a vacated season, but you put him on the honorable mention. You can't get away with that if you put him on the honorable mention.
For sure. And I can read off Lamar and Tebow stats in just a second. But anyone else's thoughts on this list before we kind of talk about who should be where and things of that nature?
I agree with Mike. I think Travis too high.
I'm saying Travis too high, and I ain't gonna hold you. I'm putting Cam Newton over Joe Burrow, but that's just me.
I agree with you, Clips, 100%.
Okay. So before we touch on the Joe Burrow and Cam component, because I did agree with that as well. That was one of the first things I mentioned. We could talk about the Tim Tebow and Lamar Jackson. For those who don't know, that season Lamar threw for 3,309 yards, 90 yards, 30 touchdowns, 9 picks, and he ran for over 1,538 rushing yards with 21 rushing touchdowns in 12 games. He had 8 touchdown performance against Charlotte that year to go along with 2 7 TD games. His best performance of that year when he scored 3 touchdowns against Clemson. So that was his stats for that 2016 season. Tim Tebow, he threw for 3,132 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 picks. He rushed for 838 yards, 22 rushing touchdowns that season. And the rushing touchdown mark was the most ever in a single season in SEC history. And he ran for almost 9.5 yards per attempt, which led FBS that year. He finished with 55 total touchdowns, which is also the SEC record. So those were their stats in those Heisman seasons. I agree. I don't know who got come off, but Reggie should be on this list. You can make an argument for Herschel, and definitely can make an argument for OJ. But I knew they was gonna put OJ on this list for sure. We already know why. We ain't gotta get into that. He should have been drafted to Denver, but that's a whole nother situation. He love his Broncos, I see. But anyway, we gonna go right into the big elephant in the room. Should Cam Newton be ahead of Joe Burrow on this list? Mike and Ty, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I'm kind of torn between this because that Burrow season's crazy. The numbers he did, national championship, that's crazy. But as we look at it from today's perspective, he had all the help in the world. He had the Avengers on his team. So at the end of the day, I'm like, of course you can put up 60 plus touchdowns when you got them crazy dudes at wide receiver. So to me, I think I would put Cam Newton's season because of just the importance of pretty much doing it on your own and being that game changer that he loves to say and loves to talk about. That's pretty much what he was. Joe Burrow, I think the receivers were the game changer
Real,
in the
real,
LSC.
real quick, his stats. Before the college football, 4,715 yards, 48 touchdowns to only 6 picks, with 289 rushing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns in 13 games before he got voted as the Heisman. After the season was over, he finished with 60 passing touchdowns, 65 total touchdowns, with over 5,671 yards, and he set the record at NCAA in both stats. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that year, 2019, they went undefeated as well. I think they ran the table.
Oh yeah, yeah, they didn't lose a game.
So, I mean, I can see why they can get that too, but I'm gonna let you guys take it away because I already know Clips and Mike is for sure going to make the point I made when I first seen this list. Why I would like to argue Cam over Joe.
I agree with Ty. It's look at everything he was working with. Looking back at it now, and we look at the landscape of college football that year, and I think Cam had a much tougher year that year because I don't know if it was that year or the year before. Wasn't that the in the Iron Bowl, the return for the field goal there when they brought it back for the touchdown? It was either that or the year before, one of the two. So don't quote me on that, but I just think, I don't know, with what the landscape was of the SEC that year and everything that happens, I think I'd definitely put Cam over Joe. Looking what he was working with. And then too, I just want to say when I say I move Travis Hunter down, I'd move him down to 7. I don't know, even Johnny Manziel, we got to put him up there with Charles Woodson and Dorsett. I don't know 7 if that's fair.
Real quick before Clips goes, I'm gonna give off Newton stats. Okay, Newton had. Wait, I want to make sure because they don't have his total. Oh, there it is at the bottom. He finished with 2,854 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, 7 picks, 1,473 rushing yards with 20 touchdowns. In this season, Auburn won 11 games and then lost to Alabama in their regular season finale. But Cam played well in that game. He had 4 total touchdowns to help Auburn rally from a 24-0 deficit. And then in the SEC championship, he totaled for 408 yards, 6 total touchdowns versus South Carolina in that win. And then he won against Alabama, and then he beat Oregon in the title game. So, I mean, first and foremost, no matter who's even an honorable mention and those who crack the top 10 all deserve to get some type of recognition and respect. They balled out in their respective seasons those years. But I think majority of us will agree Cam should be ahead of Burrow at least, given the difficulty and the amount of talent he had around him. Now, Cam's team at that time wasn't bad because of what he was able to do, but when you look at the names, especially the names that Joe Burrow had compared to what Cam had, I mean, it is what it is at this point. Mike, you touched on something. You said you'll move Travis Hunter to 7 and move Johnny Manziel up higher. How high would you put Johnny?
I'd even if it's up to 6, because I know this is individual, like Heisman seasons. I understand that, but team success has to go into this as well. And if you look up the teams that they were on, there's a significant drop off. I believe it. I don't think it was Dorsett. I believe it was after Manziel when you hit Marcus Allen. This team success goes way down, and the team success would match up at number 3, where Hunter is, to those guys at 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, that's great that you had this great Heisman season, but when it comes down to it, it's a team game and how you elevate your team.
Fair. Tony Dorsett, just to put his numbers, he rushed. This was 1976. For those who don't remember, no, he rushed for 1,948 yards with 21 touchdowns in 11 games, which also helped him set the all-time mark for most career rushing yards in the NCAA history at that time period. He rushed for 202 yards with a touchdown in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia, and then he helped Pitt win the national championship. So
yeah, it's Marcus Allen where the drop-off is then for the team success.
So that's what Tony Dorsett was able to do in 1976 for Pitt, winning a national championship. Marcus Allen in the 1981 season, he rushed for 2,342 yards, 22 touchdowns, and that's not including the USC's bowl game. If you add the USC bowl game, he's finished with 2,427 yards, 12 games, which would be 5th all time in NCAA for a season. He rushed over 200 yards in USC's win against Oklahoma, and that was his season. So yeah, the drop off will be at 8. But even Tebow won in that year too. So
I might have looked up the wrong year then with Tebow, because I thought it was a 9-3 record, but I might have typed in the wrong year when I was looking.
Let me look right. I could have sworn they won in 07.
Look, hold on. I might have typed that in wrong earlier.
Yeah, it was in the Heat. They went 9-3. Yep.
Oh, 9-3. Yeah.
So, if we had to reorder this list, fellas, is Barry staying at 1?
I don't have an issue with that. I'm cool with that.
All-time leader in rushing yards for a season. I'm not mad at him being 1. Or Mike, because I know you're big on the championships. Does Barry not having a national championship that year hurt him for being at 1?
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at putting Cam Newton up at number 1, to be honest with you. But either way, it's still an all-time record that hasn't been broken. And he still made it to the Holiday Bowl that year and won. And the Holiday Bowl back then is a lot bigger than it is now. So I can't really I don't want to go as far as a national championship. I just want to go more to team record and your postseason success. So I know he won the Holiday Bowl that year, so I still wouldn't give him that drop off as compared to some of these guys.
And by the way, just to even bigger up why Barry, I'm not mad at Barry being 1. I think he should stay at 1. Is the numbers he has, which is the record, which is 26-28, so 2,628 yards, 37 touchdowns. Back then, they didn't count into the stats for the bowl games like they do now. So the bowl game that Mike is referencing, whatever his stats was, that doesn't count towards his total stats. He probably went well over 27,000. For all we know. I'll have to look up the bowl game to see his stats, which I will in a moment. Actually, it's right here. He rushed for 222 yards, 5 touchdowns in Oklahoma State's bowl game win that year. And they won 11 games that season, which gave him a final of 2,850 rushing yards with 42. Yeah. Nah, he's at. I ain't in that era where you actually hit too, and everyone complains about how it was more physical. To rush for almost 3,000, I mean, on 2,900 and over 40 touchdowns. I ain't mad at him being 1. Fellas, who would you have at 2? Cam? Or would someone else at 2 before Cam? Because we know Burrow will be behind Cam based on what we believe, but is Cam comfortably at number 2?
I'd put him in.
Yeah, I would say Barry, 1, Cam, then Burrow.
I agree.
Clips, what about you? Barry, Cam, Burrow. Would that be the 3?
I can agree with that. I just again, I'm biased because I'm a Cam Newton fan to heart, but I really am putting Cam 1 because he literally carried that whole Auburn team like on his back that whole season. Like I remember watching. For me personally, I remember watching those games and I was like, "Yo, he is like him." Whether it was running the ball, throwing the ball, he literally carried that whole Auburn team offensively on his back. But I can agree with Barry 1.
I think you could say the same with Barry too. And then in that era, the
But
average
Joe Burrow is definitely 3rd, bro. I'm sorry.
to average almost 8 yards a carry in the late 80s, that's impressive. Barry averaged 7.6 yards a carry that season. Like it's almost a guaranteed touchdown every play. But yeah, I think I can agree with Barry 1, Cam 2, Joe 3, and a name I might put in, who I might even put at before Cam possibly. I'm thinking about it now. I'm thinking about Reggie Bush. I'm like I said earlier, I don't know who's coming off yet, but I know Bush is getting in for me. But and I think Bush can arguably be top 3. Whether you put him ahead of Cam or Burrow or both. I don't see how they make the top 10 list and not have him on there. But if my guess was to be who I would probably take off of first sight, I probably might agree with Mike. It might be Tebow or Lamar, if I'm being honest. But I don't know. That's just my take. Any lasting thoughts on this top 10 list?
So I go.
Fair enough. All right. Now, Mike, we gonna get right into. Do we have any more games you got to pick for the night?
Not for college. We got the 2
NFL
divisional games on Saturday because we do the Sunday ones on Sunday when we come back. But
yes,
just those 2.
All right. So I guess we're gonna get ready to get into those. Man, let's do it.
Yeah, we're just picking the 2 Saturday games. First one is Houston at Kansas City. Kansas City's -8.5. Me and Peso both have Kansas City straight up.
I got Kansas City straight up.
Yeah, I'm going with the same.
And last one is Commanders at Lions. Lions are -9.5. Me and Peso also have the same boat at Lions straight up.
I'm so torn with this. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was gonna say you shouldn't be torn, bro.
I really want to pick the Commanders. I really do.
I got the Lions straight up.
I'm gonna go Detroit straight up. I told you how crazy it was. I made a corner and put them on Washington. We go 12-5. All Madden, of course. I don't do all that rookie stuff.
You just stole my fire, bro. I was about to say, congratulations, you graduated from rookie. You just stole my fire.
I don't do that. I don't do that rookie stuff. I play on all Madden on this side. Broke the interception record. Over 20 picks. Over 20 picks. Yeah.
You were Jaden Daniels?
I was with Jaden Daniels. Yeah, we went 12-5.
You're with them.
Yeah, I went to the Commanders.
Okay, my bad.
It's crazy because I went to the Commanders. We went 12-5, like their real life record, the IRL record, and then in the wild card because the Cowboys in my season was just the best team, and then in the wild card I played the Lions, and now in the divisional they were playing the Lions at IRL. So that's funny. So who knows? I might be on to something, but I'm gonna go with the Lions straight up.
Yeah. Teaser opportunity here if it goes back down to 7.5 and 8.5 for people gambling out there. If you can get those games at that 6-point teaser, I think this is a golden opportunity for it.
Yes, sir. And that's going to be the wrap. This will conclude this week's episode of the Pick6 podcast. But before we go, we're going to just show you guys the updated pick'em standings because I did not forget. Going into the divisional round, I have the lead with 483 points. Clips is at 479. Mike with 440. Pacer with 438. Our guy Ty hit the 400 mark with us at 402.
Yes, sir.
So everybody eating on this side.
That's all I cared about, hitting the 400s.
But this is the updated pick'em spreads going into this weekend's games. We'll be back on Sunday morning, our regular time, to talk about the Sunday predictions for those games as well as recap the Saturday games. So if you're watching, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. We appreciate you guys supporting. Leave a comment down below. Please leave comments down below. Tell us your thoughts on the Heisman list. Carson Beck going to Miami. Our predictions for the games. And we're 7 subs away from 200, man. Everyone have a blessed and wonderful night. We'll see you guys on Sunday. And, before we go, Saturday, we have our NBA show back up on Saturday, so make sure you tune in at 12:30 Eastern time. Time will be announced shortly. But everyone have a blessed night. See you all on the weekend. Peace.
Peace.
Grade 8.